But first, Washington is at a standstill as congressional lawmakers have yet to reach a compromise on ending this government shutdown. CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman joins us now. And Willie, very good to see you here tonight. The White House, they're looking to lay off workers, cut federal programs during this shutdown. Do we have a better sense of what that could actually look like here?
Hey there, Nancy. Well, the details really haven't been spelled out from the White House so far in terms of that meeting that the president said he would have with the director of the Office of Management and Budget, Russ Vought. Of course, we know Mr. Vought is in charge of essentially warning government agencies about potential layoffs or cuts that could potentially take place during a government shutdown. That is, in fact, what the White House did just last week, warning those agencies that not only could furloughs take place, which they have, but mass firings as well. And the president, Mr. Vought, indicating that that could happen in the coming days in terms of those mass firings at government agencies. So we await a readout from the White House in terms of what's being decided at that meeting and what agencies or potentially what employees would be affected. But the press secretary, as you noted earlier, she said thousands of workers could potentially be in these mass layoffs, mass firings that take place. The president has noted that essentially Democrats have given him a gift in terms of being able to go after and cut government spending, wasteful spending, things that the administration believes aren't in line with the White House's thinking. That's what the president's message is here. Democrats essentially say that as a threat, that you're using federal workers as a chess piece in this political game of sorts that is being played with government funding. Of course, Republicans would say Democrats should just fund the government for the next several weeks with that continuing resolution, that stopgap measure to keep funding in place until November 21st, Nancy.
And Willie, before we let you go here, how much is the White House working directly with Congress now to bring an end to this shutdown?
Yeah, well, we saw that meeting, that in-person meeting here at the White House earlier this week. The vice president indicated yesterday that the White House is talking to members of both parties to bring an end to this shutdown. We, of course, know there will be a vote in the Senate tomorrow on that continuing resolution. We'll wait and see what the result is there for that vote, Nancy.
All right, well, stay tuned for that. Willie James Inman, thank you. And earlier, I spoke with Yolanda Jacobs, a health communications specialist at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. She is also a union president representing CDC workers in Atlanta. And I asked her how the government shutdown could affect the agency.
We are going to see a lot of halting as far as public health assistance, funding to some of our local public health departments. Disease surveillance is basically out the window at this point because we don't have the workers available to meet the needs of the public.
That said, Yolanda, we understand the CDC is one of the agencies partially exempt from this shutdown. What exactly does that look like for you on the ground there?
For us, it looks like a lot of employees that have been furloughed, and then we have those employees that are required to go in, and there won't be any pay for them, and it won't be any pay for people who are furloughed. So it just adds on to the travesty that has been happening at the agency for the past few months.
And Yolanda, talking to you here as a health communications specialist, the HHS specifically noted that CDC communications on public health information will be hampered during all of this. What kind of implications does that have on the public?
It has a lot of implications because when the public does not get the information they need, sometimes we think for ourselves, and it's not a bad thing to think for yourself, but when you don't have the proper guidance that you need, the public health experience behind that, sometimes you make decisions that you live to regret. And moving now into the colder months, we're looking at flu is going to be increasing. COVID-19 is still there. It's still something that is running through Americans. So without that advice, the recommendations that comes out of CDC, we could be seeing ourselves in a worse place than we currently are.